Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Fatback 480. It is, I don't even remember what night it is. Monday night. It's Monday night, isn't it? Yeah, it is. It's Monday night. It's the 23rd of September. I'm brutal. I'm absolutely awful. I should write this stuff down. But no, you're very welcome. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Periscope, don't forget to share the broadcast. Share it on Periscope, subscribe on YouTube, hit the bell icon, all that sort of stuff, and you know how it works. This show, of course, is brought to you by Paddy Power. Paddy Power is a bookies, it's a website, it's an app, it's everything you need for your bookies needs. If you want to gamble, if you're thinking about gamble, try Paddy Power. It has all your odds on Liverpool, football in general, all sports, everything else. You know the drill by now. If you gamble responsibly. If you don't gamble, disregard what I've said. It's the same thing I say every night. If anyone has any suggestions how I can change the wording to that so I don't sound like it's Groundhog Day every day, send it in, and I'm more than willing to use it. With me tonight, I have the king of the quiz. It's Chris Brack. Chris, how are you, my man?
I'm good, thanks, Gav. How are you, mate?
I'm good. You were at the women's football at the weekend, is that right?
I was.
How did you get on?
They got beat 3-2 by Sheffield United, who were in the division below, so it was a bit disappointing.
Cup game?
It is. It's a bit different than women's football. Their version of the League Cup, you're put into a mini league of like 5 teams. So you play each other once, and then the top 2 go through. Okay. And then it goes to a knockout stage. But the weird thing they do is if the game finishes a draw, it goes straight to penalty shootout, and if you win the penalty shootout, you get an extra point. So it does make the games a bit more exciting.
Where are they playing their home games?
Prenton Park at the moment.
Oh, so along with the 23s?
Yes.
Okay. And going into those games, is there offers on season ticket holders, members, stuff like that?
Yeah, if you're a men's season ticket holder or fan card holder, you get it for free. But if you were to rock up on the day, I think it's 5-6 quid for adults and about 3 quid for kids.
That's good, isn't it?
I think the family tickets are like 14 quid for a family of 4, so it is really cheap. I mean, me and my daughter we have a season ticket, and for us, I think it's just over 50 quid for the 2 of us for the entire season.
Oh, that's for nothing. Then I suppose it's an easier game to go to the women's game than the men's game. It's probably easier to get there, park, get in around the ground, stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a lot more integration because the crowds aren't as big, although they are getting bigger. There's not as much segregation unless you go somewhere like Man City, where it is they play that academy stadium, so it is a bit more segregated. Yeah,
all the ultras at each end of the ground during those big games, there could be trouble. But what's the quality like?
Decent place. It's really good. It's as you've seen with the World Cup, it's ever growing. It's really entertaining. It's still, to me, it's just like the men's game. You still end up ranting and raving at how crap officials are, who your favourite player is, all that sort of stuff. The big difference, probably, because you can't do this in the men's game, is after the game, you could always wait at the bottom, and the players always come, selfies, autographs with kids and families. So for my daughter, it's great. She goes that regularly amongst the players. Will always say hello, so always recognise her and talk to her. So it's the equivalent. If I was 6 now, Mo Salah see me every game and saying hello to me after every game. In my daughter's eyes, that's what the women are to her. They're like her Mo Salah, her Sadio Mane. So it's really, really good like that.
Yeah, that sounds very good. And as you said, easy to get to, cheap to get in, good quality players. You get close to the players and stuff like that. Sounds like a good day out. Actually, it really does. I just thought I'd ask you about that because I did see you were at the game over the weekend. How do you think the Liverpool ladies will do over the season? Is it early doors in the season? I'm not going to pretend I follow what they do, but is it early doors in the season?
It's early doors, but I think it's going to be tough this year. I mean, the top 3 are Arsenal, City, Chelsea. They're probably like City, Liverpool in the men's league. They're miles away. No one's catching them. Unfortunately, the big problem with the women's game is there probably isn't enough investment in players. There's good players coming in, but in my opinion, the squad they've got's probably not big enough. The players they got are great. They probably could just do a couple more. Like every fan, I always think they need more. So I think it is going to be a bit of a tough slog.
Yeah, well, look, I suppose anything I've seen on the women's football, do players change clubs an awful lot?
Yeah, from the regulars I speak to, have been watching women's football a lot longer than me. Most players' contracts are like a year, 2 years. So the turnover of players is normally quite big. Unfortunately for Liverpool, last summer they had, I think it's like 14 players leave. It was a bit of a.
Was that anything to do with? Did United start a team last season that took
Yeah,
a load of them?
yeah. Quite a lot of them went to United. I mean, most of our players have left. Most have gone to United. They've gone to Chelsea. They've gone to City. So they've all gone to, clubs that are quite well established.
Quite good, yes. You've lost a lot of quality players
Yeah.
to clubs that are probably ahead of Liverpool at the moment. Anyway,
Uh,
would I be right in saying that?
Yeah, at the moment, sadly.
Yeah.
But the hope is they're going to get back to where they were, winning things again.
Yeah,
We hope.
absolutely. Right, as I said, I just thought I'd ask you about that because I seen you there at the weekend. I want to touch on a few things tonight. I can just let you know that Barry Carr on the chat is dead. No, sorry, he did a great deed last night. He's not in fact dead. Sure, if he was dead, he wouldn't be able to comment. He is drunk. He's most definitely drunk. Stephen in Cork is definitely drunk. Stephen's always drunk, and I like him for it. Let me see. If there's any comments you want to send in, whether it be random questions, we're always up for. Any comments on Liverpool, you know yourself, you know how this works. So anything at all, throw it in there. If I can find anything I want to shout out, I absolutely will. Just Chris, just moving on, I suppose the FIFA best team. I don't even know what this fucking was tonight. People were saying, is it the Ballon d'Or, is it not? But Jurgen Klopp gets Coach of the Year, does a nice speech. It's a nice little trophy for him to have, isn't it? To as a, I suppose a little not a token. It's not a token, but it's something that you can say, look, there's something to show for what he's done at Liverpool over the last couple of years, and particularly in the last 12 months. Great to see him get it.
Yeah, it's good. Probably good for him on a personal level. I mean, I think people get a bit too heads up on these opinion awards. I think the biggest thing that came out of Jurgen Klopp's speech, what I saw on Twitter, was he's joined. What's that? Is it that charity where he'll donate 1% of wage to charity? Like I think One Matter's done it, and players like that. That's probably the best thing that came out of it. And I believe the speech from whose name is the American lady who won Player of the Year.
Oh yeah,
she did a speech about equality. Praising Raheem Sterling, Koulibaly. That was they were probably the two most interesting things that came out of it. But the rest of it's just like this player, that player. I don't really get too heads up over it. I mean, the team's comical, I think, anyway, that they've picked.
Yeah, the Kev O'Sullivan says the best 11 was shocking. It makes a mockery of the night. I think Marcelo's in there at left back. I can't understand how Andy Robertson isn't down as the best left back in Europe in 2019.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's a Liverpool podcast. This won't be popular, but there's loads of Real Madrid players now who didn't do very well yet. I don't think there are any City players in there. I mean, but like it or not, they are a team that's averaged 99 points for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And none of their players get in.
I don't know how Raheem Sterling isn't in there.
Yeah, Sterling
or Bernardo Silva.
Yeah, they're two players you go, I've got to shout for it. So it does seem funny, but like Ramos, Modric get in when Real Madrid have been pretty average by their standards.
And what way is the voting done on this? And like you see, I do this podcast, right? I read a lot about Liverpool, but when it comes to these things, I kind of look at them and go, oh yeah, they're on. But I don't go in and look into how's the voting? Do you know how the voting is done in this?
Well, I've just seen a few people on social media. It seems to imply it's a bit like the Premier League one. I think the players vote.
Okay.
For each other.
Right.
You know what I mean? The rumour is that Ronaldo and Messi voted for Salah and Mane. Van Dijk voted for Messi. Mm-hmm. How they found this information out, I don't know. But I think that's how it's done.
Yeah, I've seen Barry Carr there saying that Samuel Eto'o before it was asked about the best player, and he mentioned Salah and Mane. It's just, when you're looking at the best team is a world football. I presume it is with FIFA. Is it world football that they're voting on tonight? Or it's not FIFA. It's not the world player of the year. Is it the best players in Europe over the 2019? I'm completely lost on it.
Yeah, I assume it's best players in Europe. I haven't paid too much interest. I didn't even know it was happening. until I saw it flash up before.
Yeah, you see, I'm like you. I'm not a massive fan of these kind of award ceremonies. Like we only had one a couple of weeks ago. Do you know what I mean? So what's this one for? You know what I mean? It's I think it was the Champions League one, wasn't it? A couple of weeks ago, and then this one is a FIFA one, and the Ballon d'Or then is, I don't know when the Ballon d'Or is going to be and stuff like that. Were you surprised Messi got it over Van Dijk?
Probably not.
No.
It generally, those sort of rewards, they tend to give it to a striker. I mean, he has got something like 50 goals, won a league, got to Champions League semi-final, so it's not bad.
No, it's not bad. No.
It's not bad. So, it was probably going to be one of them too. So, generally, I always think if it's between a striker and an attacker, it tends to be a striker that wins it.
Yeah. Stephen Max says it's a clown show. It just came across to me that, don't get me wrong, I like, the one thing I did like about it, like they're picking another team there again tonight, when I was kind of going, what's this team for? Now, the manager of the year thing, and this may sound ridiculous, like Klopp won it. I'm delighted for him. Do you know what I mean? And I can't remember another award being given out like this in the last while. I could be completely wrong there. He probably could have handed a half dozen out in the last 6 months. But I did like the fact Klopp gets the recognition. But this whole best team again, and it's stuff like that. And let's be honest about it. Whether it's world or European, even if you go to a world level, you're not going to get someone out of the MLS being in the team of the year. You know the kind of way it is. Europe, it's majority of it is based on European football, regardless of what the award is called. But I was really happy for Jurgen Klopp. And when I seen him get it, it was a lovely speech. He talks well about Liverpool, the club, the fans, the staff, the players, the owners. He talks really nice about them. And when I was watching him, I was thinking, something. We got all this off about Jurgen Klopp when he was in the lead up to the Champions League final. He's been in so many finals and he can't win them and stuff like that. But for him to walk away with that, all right, he has a Champions League medal. He can call himself a European Cup winner, European Cup winning manager. But him to walk away with that award, I thought, you know what, great. Because if that shuts a few more people up, absolutely great. But the one thing that came over from me, Chris, was I watched the speech probably twice, 3 times, just to, fully concentrate on it and watch it. Do you know something, Chris? The more you watch this, the more you think, please let that man stay at this club for as long as we can possibly hold on to him.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's the ideal for us, isn't it? We just like him to stay as long as possible. He just seems to fit us very, very well.
Yeah, he absolutely does. He's just a perfect fit. The way he speaks about everyone around the club is just brilliant. So, well done to him. I think Alisson is in the team of the year, wasn't he? Van Dijk was in the team of the year, and then, as we said, some of the selections were outrageous. But look, we done a show last. Yeah, go on, Chris. Go on.
I'm looking forward to Guardiola's next press conference. I'm sure he'll bring it up.
Oh yeah, he'll probably bring his award he got the year before last or whatever he got. He'll bring his award and stick it on the table, but he's not interested in Liverpool, something like that. But we done a show last night, Chris. The Fatback 4 show with Matt and Grizz. We kind of done a review of the and reaction to the Chelsea game yesterday. But I'd like to get your thoughts on it. For me, decent first half, took our chances, got away with one for the offside one, and not got away with one. That's the rules, apparently. I say apparently because I'm still not convinced by this at all. And Tammy Abraham has a good chance where Adrian saved. Second half ran out of legs for me after 70, but dug in well to win. I said it last night on the show. To me, that's a massive, massive sign that this Liverpool side are going to go all the way again this season. What did you make of it overall?
Yeah, I mean, I think at one point I thought we were going to, if we got that Firmino chance in it, if we got to a quick 3-0 just after half time, I thought it probably would have been a comfortable win. But hindsight's a wonderful thing. That result probably is more of a kick in the teeth for City than we probably realised, because you would think if you're a City fan, you've just beat Watford 8-0, you would probably look at Liverpool Chelsea and they might drop points here because Chelsea away is always a tough game. So the fact that we've grinded out a tough 2-1 was probably a bit of probably something that they'll have gone, I'd expect Liverpool to drop points there. But no, on the whole, I was quite pleased. I thought the last probably 20 minutes was a bit closer for comfort than we probably would have liked. But on the whole, I thought Liverpool were pretty professional. I thought possibly Grizz was a little bit overcritical of Liverpool. I think coming straight from Napoli, and there's only one change from the Napoli game. You know, he always goes to this trusted midfield in these sort of games. I thought Liverpool, did what they had to do, which is probably a sign of Liverpool we haven't always seen, is this grinding results out, which is probably what we've always wanted Liverpool to get a bit better at.
Yeah, no, the grinding of the result I thought was amazing. Like if Liverpool had played really well in that second half and came out with a 2-1, you'd be going, we played really well, but we still, even though playing well, we got away with one. But I thought, don't get me wrong, the first 10 minutes of the second half I thought were really good. I thought we were going to put them away. Firmino has a great chance. Kepa makes a fantastic save. And then there's one where Alexander-Arnold is ruled offside. I'm not too sure if he is. And Kepa saves him from his own player, I think, going back on the line. I think if that had went in and been reviewed, I think it would have stood as a goal. So Liverpool were really good in those first 10 minutes. But then the drop-off was a marked drop-off for me. And the subs told that story. Henderson put in a massive shift away at Napoli. He comes off. I think Milner comes on. Is it Gomez comes on for Salah? And
it goes because I think probably...
And Lallana comes on for Mane, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think Milner came off for Mane early because I think Mane was
Milner for
injured.
Mane. Sorry, Lallana for Henderson. I had them in the wrong order. But it's just the lack of legs showed. Now the substitutions to me made sense. Not so much the Lallana one, but it could make sense in the fact that if you get him the ball, he's good at holding on to it. But just to play, I said it last night, 6 out of 10 overall, go away to a Chelsea side that's on the rise a little bit with Frank Lampard and gaining in confidence, gaining in the style of play they're doing. To go and win that, as you said, it is a massive kick in the teeth. Not a massive kick in the teeth, but it's another show to City saying, listen, we don't even have to play well here, and we're going up against these top 6 sides and we're doing the job.
Yeah, I mean, if you put it the other way around, if we were 5 points behind, we just got a big win against Watford, and then we see City get a tight 2-1 win, we'd all be deflated by it and take it as a kick in the teeth. I mean, it's 5 points this early in the season doesn't really mean very much, to be honest, because that can be turned over very quickly. But it's a positive place to be. I suppose what it did show with the Mane knock was that was probably a game where you probably wish you had an Origi to bring off the bench. That's a sort of game. Same with Napoli. That probably would have suited an Origi for the last 20 minutes just to be direct on the left wing and just run at plays, which that's not Milner's game, in fairness to him, and it's not Wijnaldum's game. That's probably a game where you probably could have done with the Origi option off the bench.
Yeah, Stephen is saying that the feed is brutal. I presume you're on YouTube. For me, it's absolutely fine. I have it on the phone beside me. It looks absolutely fine, Stephen. I think you need to put 50 pence in the meter. I think that's what's going on there. But 6 wins out of 6, Chris. Before we move on to having a look at MK Dons, 6 wins out of 6. European Super Cup won. We've a good, decent run of games now. We've Sheffield United, we've Leipzig. And I look up the rest of them. But it is a crucial time in the season towards the next international break, and then I think it's United after that. When we look towards MK Dons now, for you, was it one of those where as many players as started that game yesterday don't start on Wednesday night? Would that be your view on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think apart from Adrian,
yeah,
I can see a brand new 11.
Yeah, does talks of Kelleher getting his debut?
Good for him if he does. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of rotating the keeper sometimes. Cause I'm sort of thinking, how much strain does it put on the keeper really? Because most of the time, there isn't.
The worry you have is that we have a keeper out. Our second keeper is in goal. If something happens to him, we're looking at Kelleher then going into league game away. Leipzig, it starts to get very, very. I think it's getting very dicey if you're risking your second keeper, when you don't have to really.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I'm just thinking if you're going to throw a young keeper in, you probably want a bit more experience in front of him, and you don't really want to play the likes of Matip and Van Dijk really in those sort of games. But I assume it'd be Gomez Lovren as the middle two, I would have thought.
Yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll have a little chat about it and we'll try to come up with a team between us, because North Reddit says, can we have a quick word on that anti-Liverpool twat Martin Tyler? Could he be more obvious? Lads, I'm telling you for ages, I'm telling you since the start of the season, stop watching the games on Sky. If you can get a feed from America, watch it. If you can get it with Peter Drury or something doing it. Martin Tyler yesterday, Chris, I don't know if you watched it
I
on
did.
Sky, right?
I
Okay.
watched.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's go through Martin Tyler now. You have to remember what Martin Tyler is, the way he goes on. His disappointment when Liverpool do well, it's so obvious, right? So Trent scores a goal yesterday, and he's like, oh, amazing. But there's no kind of, let me put it this way: if Paul
If Pogba
Pogba,
had done,
yes,
yeah,
if Pogba sticks that in
Pogba
the
had got
top corner,
the
it's, he would have been raving for fucking 15 minutes afterwards, right? He calls the offside decision pedantic. Okay.
Oh, what was it? He said he's offside, but where someone's like, that's inches offside. It's it's unfair. But even when you watch the replay, as soon as they shown the first replay, you went, he's offside. You
Yeah.
didn't need to get the line out.
Yeah.
If it was like the Son one against Leicester, where it was about 3 inches offside,
His elbow or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're the ones I can understand you going, that's really pedantic. How much advantage can you get for 3 inches? But from first view, you went, he's offside. It wasn't like it wasn't that close.
Yeah, and you see a lot of people say to me, like, when I'm talking to them about Martin Tyler, and it's usually United fans when I talk to them, they go, no, you're reading too much into that. Northred says his commentary conduct is now trending. It's trending on Twitter every time he does every time he does a match involving Liverpool. Like they scored a second, and you can nearly hear his disappointment. And then he gets excited when Kante scores, and he's hoping and hoping and hoping, and it's just, listen, I've said it before, I'll say it again, and like I watched it yesterday. I did watch it on Sky yesterday, but I literally turned it on when the whistle come on and turned it off after the whistle, because I can't listen before and after. I just can't, and I have to put up a toilet. I usually have the telly quite low when he's on, that way. But we just have to get used to it. That's the way it is. I've said it before. There's a certain group within the media, pundits, former players, this and that are terrified of what Liverpool could do if they go and win a league title. And it's all because they grew up watching Liverpool dominate English football. And then United came along, and United was a nice change, and it coincided with Sky arriving on the scene. And Sky made so much money off United being the big juggernaut they were, but a certain, I suppose, if you're a certain age and you're a former footballer, a pundit or a journalist, or a presenter in the media, or indeed a commentator, all you have to do is look at Tyler, look at Andy Gray, Richard Keys. They all rode the United juggernaut, and now I think they probably think, we're going back to the mid, we're going back to the 70s and 80s here. If Liverpool go and win a league, they could go on and be absolutely flying, But off that again, let's go back to MK Dons. The competition itself, is it one that you'd like to see Liverpool go far in and use it as a way of keeping squad players fresh? And maybe if you get to a semi and a final, you could bring in more first-team players. That's usually the route that big sides take. Is it something you'd like to see us have a good go
at? I think it depends who you get, really. Because if you end up getting like a draw like City got, where it's a bit more routine, then yeah, it's great, because then you can give squad players a run out. I mean, we're a bit hampered, I suppose, with this. Is it the EFL Cup what all the 23s are in? Because I get the impression there's a couple of kids we would have liked to have played, but we're playing Fleetwood the same day. So that's great scheduling. So we can't even use that. But at the moment, that is probably in the last couple of years, my mindset's changed. As long as it doesn't impact how we do in the league or the Champions League, they're the two I want us to do well in.
Yeah.
Because I'm 36. Last time I won the league, I was 6, 7, so I have no real memory of it.
Mm-hmm.
So in my head, I'm a bit like anything that does that. The only big thing with the League Cup that I find hampers us is the semi. If you get to a semi-final, it's 2 legs in January, just after the Christmas run.
Yeah.
And I always seem to think that seems to really hamper us.
Yeah.
Unless you get Burton Albion.
Yeah, and I know what you're saying. When you start getting into, isn't it, around February, and you might have, and especially when you look at Liverpool in this World Club Cup Championship, whatever the name is behind it, you're having the West Ham game, I know, is being moved, so that may be moved into, they try move that into a slot midweek when they can, and if you're going into a semi-final, then it starts getting really, really heavy fixture-wise, that kind of way. It's a fair point, but I think, for me, I think I'd like to see us go out against MK Dons, pick a team that I feel would be strong enough to go and win. But the one thing I want to see is, I want to see players that are given an opportunity against MK Dons on Wednesday, the likes of your Lallana, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Brewster, Lovren, even Larouci, whoever, Gomez. I want to see them come out and put absolutely everything into it, and try stake a claim. Shaqiri is another one that Maverick mentions there. I really want to see them come out and go, we're good enough for this first team. I'm going to show Jurgen Klopp, and let it be used as, a nearly trial games, where you can say, oh, he's really doing well, bring him in, use him, drop him in and out of the squad, because we will have to rotate as it goes on. Barry Carr reckons that Stephen runs a lava lamp fetish website. If you do, fair play to you. I hope you're making a few quid off it. It's completely up to you. If anyone has any random questions, we're going to do about another 7 or 8 minutes. Any random questions, throw them in. Absolutely throw them in, and we'll have a look at them. But let's pick a team between us. And let's have a look, Chris, at... Are we going to disagree on goalkeeper? You'd like to see Adrian and I go with Kelleher?
Yeah, I think we'll stick with that, yeah.
Okay, so you're having Adrian, I'll have Kelleher. Back four, I'm going to go Hoover, Gomez, Lovren, Larouci.
Yeah, I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, okay. You're happy with that? You agree with that?
Yeah, the only one I thought is... partly because I forgot about Lucci, was if he'd stick Milner at left back for a bit more experience, but because I'm assuming Keita's fit.
Yeah, but I think he's going to play. I don't know if Keita will get in. That was the interesting one for me. So midfield, I was going to go with Milner, Lallana, Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I suppose it's how fit Keita is. It could be a perfect game to throw him in, potentially. But it's if he's fit. If obviously he's only just started training. Okay,
and then up front, I'm thinking Shaqiri, Brewster, and then you're going to have to fit somebody else in there. Maybe you'll see someone like a Curtis Jones come in and play a game. I'm not too sure. Then again, he could stick one of the big boys in up front to play with those two. But I think I wouldn't. I'd be all right with Jones, Brewster, Shaqiri.
Yeah. The other options, if Keita's fit,
yes.
Does he just do a four midfield and just play Brewster, Shaqiri up front? Are we assuming Origi's out, are we?
We're assuming Origi's out. I think it was going to be a couple of weeks, so I'm going to presume he's out. If he goes with Keita, he could go Milner, Keita, Lallana, and Oxlade-Chamberlain up front.
Yeah.
With Shaqiri and Brewster. But some team like that, I think, is absolutely fine, don't you?
I think that's fine. I mean, ideally, I'd like us to have at least a couple of the regular first team on the bench. So one of the front three. You could take your pick. Well, it won't be Manny because he's probably got an injury, maybe Firmino. And a couple, maybe something like a Henderson and a Ronaldo on the bench.
I think it's most likely if one of the front three is on the bench, I think it'd be Salah.
Possibly.
I think just with Firmino after being away and the long trip back, and he has played the game since, I think having to come on against Newcastle that time, he plays in Napoli, he plays the weekend. I think Salah had the time off during the international break. I think it might be Salah. But I think you're right. A couple of those players thrown in on the bench, no problem there. Because I'm only thinking of the Chelsea game, and I think we did look a bit leggy with 20 to go, and that's to be expected. I think people forget Napoli. It wasn't the conditions weren't great. It was a heavy pitch, the kind of way it was harder than it normally would, on a standard night where the pitch is in perfect condition and it's a lot easier to run on. It's not as heavy on the legs, so. One of those. Maverick says Jones for Origi. He likes Jones in there as well. Barry Carr wouldn't alter the shape. He'd stay at the shape. Maverick does say that Ox doesn't play well up front. Yeah, I do agree with you. So what I would suggest then is if it's going to be Milner, say Keita, if Keita was to play, keep Oxlade-Chamberlain in the midfield and put Lallana up front and put him back to the position that he probably played his best football in under Klopp.
Yeah, he could do. Or if he goes 4-2-3-1, he could play Lallana and Milner as the holders, which he keeps talking about Lallana as a 6.
Well, he could. Yeah. Go on.
And then he might give the likes of Shaqiri and Chamberlain a little bit more freedom to, other than a 3 behind Brewster, they can interchange, be a bit, a
Yeah.
bit more free.
Yeah, he could do that. He could do that. There is options there for a 4-2-3-1. There's always options for a 4-2-3-1 on the Liverpool side. Because like even at the weekend, if you wanted to, you could have played, Fabinho and Wijnaldum and played Henderson a little bit ahead, and then played the lads, two of them each side of him with Firmino up front. You can always do something like that. Barry Carr says Herbie Kane. He's been in a couple of squads, hasn't he? Herbie Kane, or he's been. I think he's been training with them. So yeah, he may be an option. We'll have to wait and see. But the bench will be interesting. You always think to the likes of Woodburn and stuff, but he's away on loan, and so there's a couple of players might get a chance. And we'll have to wait and see. Northred said, "Sorry, go on, Chris. Go on."
Yeah, I suppose the big positive. You think during the FA Cup under close it, or we played it Plymouth.
Mm-hmm.
Only had to rest players there. I mean, the average age of squad was like 16.
Oh, was that Exeter?
Yeah, that was it. We had like Enrique's captain.
Enrique was playing, and yeah, it was a mad team.
At least now we can make 11 changes, and there's still like a lot of internationals there, a lot of experienced players that we can go. It's not like we're throwing in a lot of unknowns everyone's never heard of.
Yeah, do you know something like Northred here says he was at the Carabao Cup game against Chelsea last year and he's never left Anfield happier after the defeat. He feels it's a fixture nightmare come February. Yeah, I think myself and Chris agree on that. And I always say it when I say, let's go and have a look at this competition and maybe blood some youngsters in it, or fringe players around the squad, or even players that are in the 18 that aren't getting on the pitch a lot, like Lallana, like Brewster, like Shaqiri. Try use that as a little bit of a buffer to the first team, and give them the minutes. But I always come back to, if this in any way affects their league form, knock it on the head, because I'm completely and utterly tunnel vision when it comes to the league. I really, really am. I think that's about it for us. What was I going to say to you, Chris? Oh yeah, give me a prediction for Wednesday night.
2-1 Liverpool.
2-1 Liverpool. A few nerves towards the end and stuff like that. A few Liverpool fans hope. Does this go straight to penalties if it's a draw after 90?
I hope so.
Yeah, so do I. I think up to a certain round it does, and then once it goes quarter final, I think it does do extra time. I could be wrong on that, but I do have a feeling this will be 90 minutes or straight to penalties. Hopefully we don't need it. Yeah, that's about it for us. Chris, thanks a million for joining us.
That's all right, no problem.
Yeah, we'll talk to you again soon. What have we got this week? Tomorrow night, Damo Flood, that was with me last Tuesday after the Napoli game. He's going to join me tomorrow to talk a little bit more about MK Dons and anything else that comes up. Chris Pajak from the Redmen TV will be with me Wednesday after the game. He's going to do a little review of the game with me at 10 p.m. on Wednesday, providing we don't go into penalties. But listen, as soon as the game's over, the game is scheduled to be over at around 9:30. On Wednesday, we'll come on at 10. If it goes on till 5 to 10, 10 o'clock, we'll come on at 10 past, or 10, 15 minutes past 10. 10, 15 minutes past 10. Could I not just say quarter past 10, no? But yeah, Chris Pajak from the Redmen TV is going to come in after the game and talk to me on Wednesday. So you did ask for Chris Pajak. I went and talked to Chris Pajak. He says, yeah, no problem, lad. And I said, great, talk to you Wednesday. So you see, when you ask, I do go and ask these people. So anyone you have and you want me to speak to, keep them flowing in, and I'll do my best to get them. But look, that's been the Fatback 4 Daily for tonight. That's been myself, Gav. That's been my guest, Chris. We've had a nice little chat. Enjoy the rest of your Monday night. We will talk to you again tomorrow at 10 p.m. Over and out.